Hey, more rides, new life, new gigs, new this, new that. My home, my place, bigger names, bigger money, smaller honey. She a good girl, man, but she act bad for me. Yeah, checks in the
Hey, we're back. Lock 'em Up Hoops podcast. Realistic Randy, Mastermind, Boldberry, talk all things NBA. Let's get to Mark Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks. They recently just lost the series against Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 5. Mark Cuban, before that game, identified the Thunder as having only one superstar in Kevin Durant and ultimately identified Russell Westbrook as an all-star but not a superstar. I want to start with this. I am a Dallas Mavericks fan, so let me touch on this subject right now. I don't know what – first of all, let's get something straight. I know I said James Harden, he's not a top 10 player. He's not. He's top 15 at the end of the 15 mark. But I'm not going to be ridiculous in this situation. Russell Westbrook is a top 5 player. He is a superstar. Like, there's nothing to question about it. So I don't know what Mark Cuban's angle was on this as far as maybe he was trying to get in Russell Westbrook's head to where, he would just be, inaccurate, inefficient from the field. Sometimes Russell Westbrook can do that from time to time. So I don't know if he was trying to do that and possibly give Dallas maybe a 0.5% shot more to take it back to Game 6 for, back in Dallas. Or maybe Mark Cuban wasn't happy with how Russell Westbrook treated the Dallas Mavericks fans. We already know about the first video. Now, we know that Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook combined, they got fined $40,000 by the league. I believe it was Russell Westbrook in particular. I don't remember who got fined, 25 and 15, but Russell Westbrook, we know the uncensored.
Russell got the most of it.
Yeah, we know the uncensored video where Russell Westbrook was talking to a fan, and he basically said, sit with your wife and shut the bleep up. But there was another instance, a separate occasion. I don't remember if it was the same game, and I don't know if there's a video out about it, but I saw this live with Russell Westbrook. I believe he scored a point. I don't know what happened, but he looked over to the right, and he said, bleep you bleep. And I'm not going to say, what it is that it looked like that he said. Go look it up. I'm sure if you, Twitter search it, you'll be able to find it. So I don't know if that was Mark Cuban's angle, one of those two situations. But I'm going to say this. Mark Cuban, I love him as an owner and everything like that, but he's going to do whatever he wants. So no matter what I say, he doesn't give a damn about me. But I would say if I was Mark Cuban, I'd be very careful because for the past couple of years, we have a track record of just not, making players just interested in us. And I don't understand because we have the executive office. We have Mark Cuban that's going to do everything for his players. We have Donnie Nelson, who's a hell of a GM. We have Rick Carlisle, the coach. We have Dirk Nowitzki, who, if people are still calling him soft, just sip on that, room temperature flavored, asparagus flavored haterade, because, my God, he has a championship. He had one of the best NBA final runs of all, maybe one of the best playoff runs of all time. We have everything set for free agents to come there, but for some reason, we talked about this, way back in our early podcast days before we started doing videos, and I'll go down this list again. We had Jason Kidd. After we won that 2011 championship, according to Mark Cuban, he was committed to coming back to Dallas, but ultimately he left them, in the dust to go to the New York Knicks. Derek Fisher, he was effective with us that one season he was with us, and then he was like, I can't. I've got issues. I forgot. I don't know if it was his child or something like that. But then, what was it, like a half hour later, he was with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Lamar Odom, 6th man of the year, coming to Dallas, and suddenly forgot how to play basketball. Darren Williams left us high and dry the first time around in free agency. Dwight Howard left us around. Now, ultimately, we may be better off without those two, Dwight Howard and Darren Williams. And ultimately, DeAndre Jordan last offseason, he committed and then all of a sudden went on that, carousel, like a 13-year-old would do with the emoji wars and everything like that. I would be very careful if I was Mark Cuban because we can't seem to get players to buy into what it is. Even though it's set up for them, for all intents and purposes, everything's right there for players to just come in and just make this team good, but for some reason they don't take us seriously. So he's going to do whatever he wants, and I know we're going to go after players again this free agency, but I'm telling you right now, I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. You can see it right here. I got the, this is all we got, man, that 2011 championship and everything like that, but I don't even know if I'm really excited about this free agency because my whole thing is at a certain point, like we talked about the Clippers, 5 years in, they just are who they are. When free agency comes around for Dallas, man, I think this year might be the first year where I'm like, wake me up when it's over, and then I'll see what happens. Mastermind, what do you make of the Mark Cuban's comments about Russell Westbrook?
Now, the remarks were idiotic, of course, as Kevin Durant said. They were very idiotic. I mean, everyone knows that Russell Westbrook is the top 5 talent in this league. The guy had 18 triple doubles this year, averaged 23, 8, and 10 this year. He will be the runner-up in the MVP race this year. The guy's a stud. He's been a stud since he's came into the NBA. He has a final appearance. He has two MVP All-Stars, 2 All-Star MVPs. I mean, the guy just, I mean, I know that doesn't really count for anything, but I mean, the guy is clearly has talent, and he, he's a fierce competitor. There's outside of 3 players in the NBA, that's the guy who I want on my team every single night. So I can't think of anybody else who I would want to compete with. As far as the Dallas Mavericks, like you mentioned, realistic, Randy, Mark Cuban does need to be careful with his statements, just because I think he might be feeling some, I wouldn't say jealousy, but he wants a guy like Russell Westbrook in his locker room.
He does.
So I don't know if that was like, trying to throw off his game, or if he wanted to, try to get another game in there and try to have Russell Westbrook be erratic as he is at sometimes. That didn't work that game, so he needs to be careful with that. But Mark Cuban's a good guy. He's a smart guy. I think he will ultimately, once Dirk Nowitzki leaves, he might. We'll see. Another star might come over there. I think he might have to rebuild through the draft again. It's just so hard to, attract free agents. It's really tough to do that. Dwight Howard, I think, was like what was that? 2 years ago. That was a bit that.
Yeah.
I thought
you guys. Deron Williams, I think, right?
Yeah. I thought that was actually going to be the chance that you guys got, because it would have worked perfectly. But
you see how they played and got hurt within the past
couple
years too.
Exactly. And Deron Williams ultimately came back anyway. But I guess you guys are
way different.
I guess you guys are Chandler Parsons. I think he made a statement saying he wants to be a Maverick forever. But
that's
he can never
assuming that Mark Cuban's going to sign him back. That's a questionable call. That's a podcast segment for another day. I do feel a certain type of way about Chandler Parsons, but he's talking as if as it's a done deal. Oh yeah, we're signing you, and that's not necessarily true.
Like he's a franchise player and stuff.
Yeah, but
he didn't play.
But yeah, we all know Russell Westbrook is a superstar. I don't think anyone can argue that. Bo Berry might think so though. He might think that he holds Kevin Durant hostage for getting a championship, but I'll let him go take that up right now actually.
Well, so with Mark Cuban here, Mr. Bold Mark Cuban, who always has been known for saying quite feisty comments about certain players and knowing to rile guys up. This is just normal Mark Cuban. I don't see really anything into it as much as like, what he tried to do or like what he thought he's going to get out of it. It's just Mark Cuban for you. He says Highlander stuff. He always likes to call people out, and he, remember his antics on the court during the game. So I'm not looking too much into that. I found it funny that, Dirk kind of was like, when they asked him during the post game, and it was like, yeah, how do you feel about it or whatever? Dirk was like, he's like, I'll take him. Like, because, obviously we all know, we all know across the league that, Russell Westbrook's a beast. Like, even as much as, Mastermind touched on about how I personally feel about how he's really holding a ring away from Kevin Durant, because I truly feel that they need to be separated at the end of the day. But, he's a superstar, man. We know this. There's no even much to touch on the fact that, is he a superstar now? We know what he is. And I think he also responded with a triple-double that game, too. So, I mean,
almost.
Yeah, so he's like, hey, see you later. I'm in the next round. Superstar that. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's all I got for that. Mark Cuban's Mark Cuban.
And I don't know. I don't know. I'm a Mavericks fan, and I mean, what are we gonna do? Sign Zaza Pachulia again? I mean, I don't know what to do. Like,
he was almost an all-star.
I mean, he was, and then I guess Rick Carlisle benched him for most of the second half of the season for Salah Mejri. So I mean, man, I don't know. What are we? I don't know what we're gonna do as a Mavericks fan or the Mavericks organization. It just is what it is. But he should be careful because players already don't want to come to Dallas. So now you're just saying, oh yeah, no, Russell Westbrook isn't that good. It's like, who knows how many friends Russell Westbrook has in the league where it's like, oh, you gonna say, man,
You gonna say that about my man?
I don't know. So it just is
Who
what
is
it
Mark
is.
Cuban?
Mark
Right.
Cuban is Mark Cuban. Obviously, doesn't give a damn. Hey, this is the Lock 'em Up Hoops podcast. Last segment, we're going to talk about the buzzer beater. We each go off about whatever's going on in our life, sports, whatever. I'm Realistic Randy with Mastermind and Bo Berry.
Hey, more rides, new life, new gigs, new this, new that. My home, my place, bigger names, bigger money, smaller honeys. Yeah, good girl.